Waters presents On the Box.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of On the Box. How you doing today, Ray?
I'm doing good.
Why are you giggling already?
I'm looking forward to a good break when you do that. When you read, Tony's going to read all that.
But how about that one? There, that one's long too. There, yeah.
So
my notes.
I'm going off to answer some email while he does that.
We have no. You're not. They immediately think that there is tension in the room when you get up and leave.
Yeah.
So do I.
That's funny.
Hey, we have some guests in studio again today.
Just
yes?
before we mention the guests, I went and had a look at yesterday's show to show Sue how we grabbed each other around the throat. And I wasn't.
And you applied pressure. You were into some serious method.
Well, I thought, what is that little lumpy thing in the?
It's an Adam's apple. It's Adam's fault.
Well, then what's it doing in there? Anyway, I was laughing as I was doing that. It wasn't good acting. No.
Yeah, maybe you were just having too much fun.
I think it was joy.
That was almost 4 years of frustration coming out with your hands around my throat right there, Ray.
So we got guests.
We have guests. Yes, we have Bob and Teresa Johnson from Fort Myers, along with their boys, Evan, who is 8, the big brother, and Samuel, who is second in command at the age of 5.
Whoa.
From Fort Myers.
They're well behaved.
We did a transformative Fort Myers.
Oh, I remember that.
They didn't go.
It was hot and sweaty.
It was. And they're here visiting On the Box. They've never seen the show.
Are they going to get a transformed Oceanside?
They're leaving just before. So we're working on it.
Yeah.
We're going to have to go back to Fort Myers.
I think so.
Hey, if you want us to come to Fort Myers, on the box at livingwaters.com, we'll go do another transform there, huh, Ray?
If we can get direct flight, we will.
With direct flight. Didn't we almost lose Daniel on the trip to Fort Myers?
I know, there was a 10-hour, was that a 10-hour delay?
Yeah, we had a big delay in Atlanta. And
oh, you were there?
Yes, Ray.
Yeah, that was a big delay. I missed out on that.
Yeah. What do you want to do today, Ray?
I want to come answer some email while you read your book.
Come on, it's not that long, and I read fast.
Okay, you are pretty good.
It's going to be a good story.
It is a wonderful story.
It is.
You only read wonderful stuff.
This week's prize is for the giveaway. First prize, a hardcover edition of the New Evidence Bible, which is, by the way, longer than what I'm going to read here today.
No.
It is. Second prize, the Blue Book on Evangelism. That is also longer than what I'm going to read today. Third prize, 5 packs of Celebrity Teen Millions. If you add all 100 together, that is longer than what I'm going to say today. Email us at onthebox@livingwaters.com. Onthebox@livingwaters.com. Full name, full address, and your zip code, please. Enter only once. And we'll be announcing the winners next Monday. Programming note. Neither one of us are going to be here on Thursday.
We're not?
No, you're going to take the day off. I've got some family business to attend to. So Easy's going to sit here.
And Scotty.
Scotty's going to sit there.
That'll be
continue
interesting.
the Exodus case. And he's going to have an Egyptian sitting right next to him. No, he's not Egyptian.
He's Lebanese.
Lebanese.
He's
Same
just
difference, right?
No, be careful.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did we ever tell a story about how he was detained by law enforcement in Israel?
I can't remember. Yeah, he was. He was grabbed because of his name and what he looks like. He looks Lebanese.
Yeah. And he's got passport stamps from all over the Middle East.
But it's good. I think it's great. He thinks it's great. You don't want people sneaking through and blow your plane up. Whatever.
No. All right. Yesterday, if you watched the show yesterday, we talked a little bit about pit maneuvers.
Yes.
And
have you got that clip?
I think we worked it all out where you understand now that no one was in danger. That day or any other day when you're in the car with me.
So this is the day you were leaving.
This was the day that you and I were, Mark and Scotty are in the van.
Okay.
And we're following them. Here you go.
And they tried to get out of the van.
They did, yeah, but it's not going to work out too good.
Good job.
The pit maneuver video.
It's coming up any second.
Come on, Danny. Danny, come on.
What does that say?
ABC6, a robbery suspect taken down right in front of an ABC6 camera. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Yolanda Harris.
And I'm Mike Rao, in for Gabe Spiegel. What you're about to see is the reason police officers go through extensive training for high-speed chases.
Photojournalist Rob Forrest heard about the chase on his police scanner. He was waiting here at 5th Avenue when police made their bold move. pursuit began with a robbery at this check cashing store on Morse Road. A witness told police the robber fled in a brown minivan. Columbus police began the pursuit before handing off to a cruiser from Gahanna.
Over the air, we advised Columbus Police Department that if they let our unit up front, he was trained in the precision immobilization technique.
It's also called the pit maneuver, stopping the van, even closing the door, so the suspect had to jump out the other side of the vehicle. Columbus police officers ran down the suspect and put him in handcuffs. They found cash in his pockets and a gun in the van.
It was a tremendous teamwork between the different agencies. As you can see in the video, there are a number of different
Just got a little bit more to it, a little bit of bite.
Yeah.
I love the way he closed the door on the guy.
Sorry, you're not getting out this way.
I watched it 3 or 4 times, especially like the door closing.
Yeah.
I guess that's what we do with the lost. We want to turn around, shut the mouth.
And you used a law to do that. Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's it. Get the siren
Romans
going.
3, 8, 19 and 20.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Beautiful.
See? Sermon illustration out of the pit maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
It could happen. All right. For the first full segment here,
Okay.
I'm going to share with you an encouraging testimony. A couple of ladies who are near and dear to my heart and the heart of those who attend the Academy. Melissa Burdett, 23. She has been to Academy 11 and 19. There she is. That was at the Jersey Fire Conference.
She's on the
a couple
left?
of weekends ago. Yes, she is on the left.
Okay.
You know what?
What?
Well, not only are you making a joke about me, but yeah, the one with hair, Danny.
I didn't
Bunker
say
shot. Give us a bunker cam. We haven't seen the Bunker Boys yet. You're not hiding from that one. Yes, Melissa is the one with the hair.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No
It's
bunker
the,
shot?
That's the glasses.
Cowards.
That's the glasses.
Cowards.
That's the glasses that confused me. That's
It's the
why.
glasses
There we
that-
go. There's a
okay.
bunker. Boys.
Anyways.
See the little writing on the wall there to remind you of what to say at the end? You can't read that without your glasses anyway. There
I
it
can't
is.
see
Be
it. I can't
encouraged,
see that far
strengthened,
away.
unafraid, proclaim the gospel.
Okay, all right. And then Beth Morris, who came to Academy number 3 a long, long time ago. That's Beth in the middle. Really neat lady. You know, when she came to the Academy, a group of us went to pizza one evening. I think it was Friday night when we were out in Glendale. And we all had our pizza. And Beth commented that, there's a lot of pizza here on the table. Maybe some of you will share. And I made it clear to her that, no, I don't share my pizza. And so she kind of gave me a hard time about that. And so sometime later, I called her favorite pizza place where she lives in Ohio and had a pizza delivered to her for lunch.
Oh, so you have a deliverance ministry.
Yeah, it's one kind of deliverance ministry.
That's very cool. I like
Yes.
that.
Yeah. So anyways, Melissa shared this testimony that I think you'll all be encouraged by. Yesterday, July 15th, I went out with Beth Morris for an outreach. As it happened, we were the only two to come out that night. Others that usually come were either sick or elsewhere. I didn't want to go. And again, this is Melissa writing. It would have been so easy to stay home, but I knew that my hesitation made it that much more important that I go. It seemed to both of us that the enemy was attacking all of us that night. However, we both went anyway. I have to say, Beth is inspiring. She has multiple sclerosis, and she goes out despite her physical limitations. Wow. She told me that anywhere else, she has to sit for at least 15 minutes now and again, yet when she goes out to share the gospel, she stands for hours on end. It's as if the Lord touches her body so that she can do it. Last week, she said that she got a needle in her foot while out sharing the gospel. I'm going to have to call her and find out how that happened. That looks painful. You all right?
Yeah, I'm glazing, but carry on. This is great. I'm trying.
Last week, she said that she got a needle in her foot out sharing the gospel, and she ended up in the hospital to get the needle out. Yesterday was the first day that she could even put a shoe on her foot. Yet there she was, obeying the command of the Great Commission. What a testimony. God allowed us to share His truth with many souls. Both of us preached twice, and it was the first time I ever preached more than once in a day. We also had several conversations, each one together. And then she goes on to share. But that's just a...
No.
Oh, you want me to keep reading?
Yeah, don't be
all right.
influenced by me.
All right, I don't want you to snore or anything.
No.
There was a...
How did you know?
Huh? We also... Well, I could tell a story about this morning, but I won't. We also had several conversations each, and one conversation together. There was a young man who was dressed goth. You familiar with goth dress?
Yes, black.
Yes. Yeah, black.
Like that.
Huh? Like this? Well, yeah, a little more black than this, yeah. And shouted very foul things to us every time he walked by. The conversation that we had together was with another young man who was with him. Jake grew up in a Christian home. He actually approached us to have a conversation, which was quite something. He kept asking questions, and though he left seemingly not persuaded, he seemed soft to the gospel. We prayed fervently that Satan would not snatch away the seed that had been planted, because there definitely seemed to be a demonic influence in his companions. His girlfriend refused to even shake Beth's hand. I talked to 2 Catholic girls who had heard me preach. I went over to them and asked them what they thought, and they immediately began to ask questions. They said that they were confused, and it seemed as if it was the age-old difference between Catholicism and true saving faith, works righteousness versus imputed righteousness. I think I was able to help them. I only pray that the Lord saves them. My heart really went out to them. It is my comfort that it is not our job to save people, but God's. Our hearts were light as we left that night. God is so gracious when we are obedient to Him.
I like that. Our hearts were light as we left that night. That's
Go
the
out,
clicking
dragging
heels.
your feet, come back, clicking your heels. There
Yeah.
you go. See, that wasn't too long.
That was great.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Yeah, so well done, Melissa. Well
Yeah.
done, Beth. And to all you men out there who are afraid to get off your couch and go out onto the streets, you're being shown up by a 23-year-old girl who's relatively quiet.
You need a pin in your foot. That's what you need.
And a lady who just had a needle yanked out of her foot, who suffers every day with multiple sclerosis, but she's out there sharing the gospel. Excuses? I don't think so. All right. The next segment. This is a shorter story, Ray.
It is?
Yes. This one right here. Persecuted Church section today. Voice of the Martyrs wrote this article on their blog.
Oh, they're a great ministry.
They are a very good ministry.
Do we have their website?
What is it? Persecution.org, I think it is. Persecution.org. Next time we share a VOM story, we'll...
That's Lynn Copeland has a lot to do with them.
Yeah, in fact, she lives there in the town of the headquarters.
Bartersville.
Bartersville.
Or Bartersville.
Bartersville. Yeah.
Barter.
Yeah, not Buttersville. Bartersville.
It's been 22 years and they can't say my R's.
It's okay. 10 years in an insane asylum for being a Christian is the title of the story.
Wow.
The straitjackets were torturous for Anna Chertakova. She hated having her hands covered and tied close to her body. To the attendants, she was nothing more than an animal not worthy of consideration. Anna spent 10 years in an insane asylum in Russia. She was not even slightly insane. A judge had sent her there because she was a Christian. Her refusal to deny Christ was, to the judge, crazy. Surrounded by the mentally ill, Anna sometimes questioned her own sanity. In the long nights, she would cry out to God in her mind, even as those around her cried out in their anger or terror. Yet she never became angry. The faith that she refused to deny in court, she also refused to deny in the asylum. To those who were able to understand, Anna even tried to be a witness and example of Christ's love. Quote, I greet you all with the love of our Lord Jesus Christ, end quote, Anna wrote from inside the asylum. Quote, I pray to God that He will make us beautiful and perfect in Christ, and that He will take charge of all our affairs. I firmly believe that God, who created everybody's heart and who examines all the affairs of mortal men, will judge my dispute with the idolatry of atheism and will execute His judgment and justice, end quote. So this is a combo. This is a two-for-one. Not only is this a persecuted church segment, but this is another atheism is stupid segment.
Yeah, it certainly is. Stuff like that makes me feel so ashamed. You know, the only persecution I've ever suffered is I got beaten up once by a woman, but I got hit in the head by a quarter, right in the forehead. Left an impression on my mind. Yeah, I guess. But seriously, and I got hit in the back by a Mormon that sent me like a projectile of 10 feet.
By a Mormon?
While I was preaching. He ran at me as fast as he could and hit me in the base of the back, and I went flying through the air, and I went at least 10 feet, land on my feet because of my surfing ability.
It's kind of a strange burning in the bosom to run up behind somebody and hit them in the back like that.
Passed as burning onto me.
Yeah.
I tell you, but stuff like, I read a lot of true stories, and it really makes me feel ashamed that we're ashamed.
Yeah.
That we complain about, things. I'd hate to be in a straitjacket. Mark Spencer's spent a lot of time in a straitjacket.
Well, we should qualify that.
You think we need to?
Well, I don't know. Maybe for the viewers.
Season 4, he got in a straitjacket a lot.
Yeah.
Until we
to
made
draw
it.
a crowd for open air.
Until we got to Germany, And something went wrong on the straitjacket,
Yeah.
and he couldn't get out, and he had a panic attack, and he said to the cameraman, I can't get out. And the cameraman said, yeah, go for it. It was interesting. So he hasn't been in a straitjacket since that time, but I would hate to have my hands restricted. Even when I was in handcuffs that time when we filmed season 4, I didn't like just having handcuffs on. No.
All right, let's go to the chat room for some questions here. Can Satanists become Christians, and how would you witness to them?
Oh, whosoever will may come, so that includes Satanists. And no different than anyone else. Think of Legion. He had a lot of demons. How many is in a Legion? There's a stack.
6,000, I believe.
There's a lot. Anyway, he fell at Jesus' feet and worshipped him. So demons can't stop someone coming to Christ. So just do exactly the same as you do other people. I interviewed a Satanist on one of our television programs for about an hour, and it was really no different than anyone else. In fact, the God of this world is not only blinded the minds, but there's a spirit that works in the children of disobedience.
Right.
So everyone who's not a Christian is part of Satan's kingdom and belong to him. So they're all kind of Satanists.
Yeah, very good. All right. What should fellow friends who accompany you as you open-air preach do while you are preaching? How can they help your time on the box? Good question.
Three things if I can remember them.
3 points over.
Pray.
Pray, yep.
Be a crowd, and clap at appropriate times.
Yes.
That's what we do when we ask true questions, beginning in the natural to build rapport and build a crowd. If there are Christians around who can clap when someone gets it right, that you see people looking over, what's the clapping going on? So well-trained clapping Christians really help to draw a crowd.
Yeah. Crowds draw crowds, yeah. And, never underestimate the power of prayer. You know, if you've got some folks in your church who are hesitant to come out with you because they're afraid you're going to throw them in the deep end of the pool and make them engage strangers in conversation or get up on the box. Encourage them to come out just to pray.
They can be paddle prayers.
Paddle?
Yeah, they're not thrown in the deep end.
Oh, that's
they're
right.
just
Doggy paddle.
Yeah, they're dog paddle prayers. They can be there.
Dog paddle prayers.
They're VIPs.
VIPs?
Very important
Very
prayers.
important prayers.
Or what is it? MVPs? Yes.
Most valuable prayers?
Most valuable prayers.
Want to keep going?
That's my tweak. That's my tweak. I tweaked most valuable prayers. They keep us in prayer, so I call them MVPs.
Okay. So yeah, that's one thing you do.
Prayer is an incredible thing. You know, not many of us have access to celebrities, to presidents, to kings, but each of us as Christians through Christ and His blood have access to Almighty God. So we need to pray often. We need to pray big, pray for revival, and put legs to our prayers.
Yeah. Now, here's some things you should tell the folks that come out with you not to do. One thing they shouldn't do is if they feel like the hecklers are being mean and nasty to you as you're open air preaching, they are not to rush to your aid. They are not to start arguing with the heckler.
Now, have you thought of a nice thing to say to a Christian where you really want him to shut up, but you want to tell him nicely, shut up, go away, leave that guy, he's mine? What do you say to them?
Knock it off. The heckler's mine. Stop talking to him.
That's kind of what I say. I pray for that heckler. He's mine. Leave him alone.
Well, I tell people, I always tell people who come out with me beforehand, look, don't interrupt in open air.
Yeah.
Don't start engaging the heckler. Don't worry about me. Pray. Watch what's going on, but don't engage the heckler.
That's right.
And I tell them, if you do that, I am going to embarrass you in public. And I do. And I call them out by name and I tell them to knock it off.
And you tell anyone if someone comes to beat you up, don't help you, film it.
Well, we might have different tactical considerations there, Ray.
Okay.
I encourage everyone on my team to use that force necessary to overcome the resistance, and we'll argue about the ethics of it all later. Yeah. So, but we could, agree to disagree. You're going to call for help, aren't you?
And film it first. This makes good.
I can see what they're doing. Is the camera rolling? Is it rolling? Did you get that? So don't argue with the hecklers. One, don't be carrying on conversations amongst yourselves while someone is open air preaching. There's very few things more distracting and more discouraging than being up there pouring your heart out, sharing the law and the gospel, and seeing all your friends who are supposed to be there praying and doing evangelism with you and supporting you, yapping about today's game or the conversation they had last week. And don't hand out tracts to people who are watching the open air, who are engaged. What the rent-a crowd should do, and that's what we call the other Christians who are in the crowd, what you should do is you should watch for the people who are walking away. And typically when they start to walk away is the first mention of the name of Christ.
The peel-offs.
Yeah. And you have a perfect segue into a one-to-one conversation. You just walk up to them and say, hey, what did you think about what that person was saying?
You don't even have to say if you're for or against. Just let the steam out.
That's right.
That's
exactly.
great.
But you want to do that a short distance away from where the preaching's going on, so it's not a distraction. Some very important tips.
And never stand with your back to the preacher, because that is so disheartening.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. Okay. How do you gently, and we're all about gently here.
Absolutely. I think the word gentle, I think of you.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
That was beautiful, isn't it?
How do you gently share with someone that evangelism is not a gift for special Christians?
Well, I use the analogy like feeding starving children is not a gift.
There you go.
It's love in action, and that's what evangelism is.
Yeah. You want to expand on that?
No, not really.
Yeah, evangelism.
It's done.
Well, yeah, evangelism is not a gift per se. There are some who are gifted as evangelists, who do it as a full-time ministry. Ephesians 4, right, serving as a specific office in the church. But everybody, every Christian is called to do evangelism. So the argument that, oh, I'm not gifted to do evangelism, it doesn't wash, it's unbiblical, it's a cop-out, knock it off!
And it really is being ashamed. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, being ashamed of the gospel.
Study to show yourself approved, a workman that needs not be ashamed. If you're ashamed, you haven't studied it. So apply yourself and study it. That's all there is to it.
Very true. Do you ever heckle the non-truth preachers?
I have in the past, but in a good way, if I may put it that way.
How do you do that?
Well, just ask questions. If someone got up and started preaching and say, God has a wonderful plan for your life, Jesus will give you lasting happiness, I'd say, well, I'm happy as I am. And just gently ask him questions. Yeah. So he sees that he's going to paint himself into a corner.
You know, it's usually not the God has a wonderful plan for your life folks who are out there preaching the wrong way.
You know why?
Why?
There's no urgency with that message.
Yeah.
Why would you get up and preach, you know?
Yeah. Usually the ones who are preaching a false gospel, if they ever get to the gospel, are the angry flamethrowers. Sorry about that, right? Flamethrowers who are. Look at Greg. Greg's back there being judgmental again. Yeah. Woody. They're the ones who are out there condemning people, pointing fingers, calling people names. They are quick to share the law. They rarely ever get to grace. Their trophies are how many people they can anger.
Westbrook Baptist Church, I've never heard them.
Would you do?
No. That's a completely different kettle of fish.
Yeah. In fact,
it's a total different can of worms.
Yes. Yesterday we showed a good example of that. Dorothy Boyette from Texas. We showed a short video of her out at Texas Tech. There were some flamethrowers out there on the campus, riling everybody up, making everybody angry. And she took a small group of kids who were there heckling the bad preachers and lovingly shared the law and the gospel with them, did an open air as she's standing in the midst of 20 or 30 kids. Yeah. And so, I wouldn't go toe-to-toe with a bad preacher there, because the unbelievers, that's what they're looking for. They like the idea of seeing Christians argue and fight. So, find another place to preach the truth louder than they preach the lies. And and the bad preachers, they live for that moment. They live for the argument. They live for the discord. They live for that kind of stuff. And why feed them? Why feed them in their sin?
Right.
So, all right, we have a long one here, Ray. Imagine that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm 17 years old. I have a summer job at a raspberry farm where they hire high school workers to work. Yesterday, as I was working, I told myself that I would share the gospel with my crew, 2 of which were my classmates. Remember, it's person 17. I knew, and she was going to share with them during a break, I knew that I would be battling my fear, so I prayed that God would help me overcome it. However, the break went by, and I still wasn't able to bring myself to share the gospel. We started working again, and I felt defeated. Since we work on loud machines, it's really hard to share the gospel while we're working, so I continued praying and asking God for a second opportunity and God's help. You're going to like this, Ray. I praise God that he heard my prayers, and about an hour before our shift was over, our machine broke down.
Good.
That's beautiful. While the mechanics were fixing it, I decided to just do it. However, when I started talking about what happens when someone dies, Cody, my classmate, said that no one knows and we'll find out when we die. Right now, he chooses to focus on the present life. When I told him that it might be too late then, and that he could end up in hell, he wasn't too concerned and basically said that he will have a great time with Satan. What a knucklehead. When I asked them if they think they're good enough to go to heaven, they said no. And pointing to Rosie, Cody said, she's not even good enough for hell. You know what? I'd love to have a sit-down one-to-one with Cody.
Yeah.
Reminds me of my days when I was working juvenile crime and had those little children in interrogation rooms. I'm just waxing nostalgic. I'm sorry. Even Satan doesn't want her, Cody went on to say. Rosie agreed to this, and sadly I found out that she just got back from a mission trip to Mexico. I didn't really know how to answer that. Unfortunately, the mechanic fixed the machine and called us back right when I was in the middle of sharing the law, and I was not able to finish sharing the gospel. I'm very grateful to God, though, that he helped me to at least overcome my fear and start up a conversation. My question, we're getting there. My question is, how would you respond when someone says that, no, they're not a good person and not good enough to go to heaven, and they're not too concerned about that? We hear this.
Well, I would say, let's see if you are not good enough to go to heaven and take them through the commandments, because they're just trying to get rid of you by saying, oh, I'm a bad person. I had a guy say that once. They
say that pridefully.
Yeah, that's true.
They like it.
There's a guy up our driveway, and I was walking down the driveway with him, and I said, is he a good person? He says, no, I've broken all the commandments. I'm really bad. So I said, well, let's see how bad you are. And we went through the commandments, and he became quite alarmed as we went through the commandments to see that he genuinely was in big trouble with God. Yeah. So when someone says, I don't mind going to hell, it's because they don't believe it. No one in his right mind wants to slam his thumb on a door or light his finger under a candle. No one wants pain and suffering. That's what hell promises. And so you have to show them that hell is a reality by showing sin is a reality. Yeah. And the other thing, too, where is that someone said, nobody knows. I think Cody said, nobody knows what happens after you die. That's a ridiculous statement, because to say nobody knows, you need to be omniscient. Yep. You need to know what everyone on this earth knows and doesn't know to say nobody knows. And only God is omniscient. So they're limited to saying, I don't know. You may know, but I don't. Nobody knows.
Yeah, and Cody is under this strange delusion that he's going to party with Satan. And what a lot of people don't realize is that Satan is not a ruler in hell. Satan is being tortured just like those people who are there, for one. And typically when young people say, oh, I'm not concerned what's going to happen to me, I'll use an analogy like this. Well, what if someone comes running down the street, if I'm talking to them on a sidewalk, blasting away with an AK-47, are you going to stand in front of them and say, hey, go ahead and shoot me, I don't care? Yeah. Or are you going to be like the rest of us and run for our lives? Oh, I'm going to run for my life. Well, then if you care about your physical life that is here today and gone tomorrow, shouldn't you even care more about your soul that's going to live forever? So anyways, to the 17-year-old who shared that in the via email with us and in the chat room, way to go.
Yeah, God bless you.
Praise God for you. And isn't it neat the way God answers prayer? The machine broke down. She was able to start the conversation.
But never try that on a plane that's noisy.
Yes, you never want to stop the engine noise so that you can be heard. You just have to talk a little louder on a plane. But you know what? You didn't fail. No. The only time we fail in evangelism, when we're doing it biblically, is when we fail to evangelize. Right. You took the step of faith. You went out there. You tried to share with them. And whether the circumstances or the people shut you down, you didn't fail. You did more than what 98% of those who profess to be Christians do.
You broke the machine.
There you go. Way to go. Well done. And with that, we are out of time. We want to thank again. Oh, Transformed Oceanside. Danny is the whiteboard king. Transformed Oceanside. Go to livingwaters.com to register. Still plenty of time. Seating still available.
Same price.
Same price. It's free. Come join us along with hundreds of our closest friends. Along with Ray and Easy and Mark and
Todd Friel.
Yeah.
Freakishly full.
Yeah, Greg. see, Greg.
Freakishly tall. Yeah. Todd Friel will be there. You get a glimpse of his legs.
Yeah. You ever watch those horror movies where, the mass killer, the madman, they finally find out where he is, they break into his room, and they see his wall covered with pictures of his victim? Yeah.
Just sounds like the news at night.
That's Greg's room with pictures of Todd Friel everywhere. I mean, not that Greg is a mass murderer or anything like that, but huh?
Do you know?
Well, no, but knowing you, I don't think you.
Greg's the nicest of guys.
But yeah, he is a big fan of Todd Friel. guess we're not just... Danny's tired of us. Danny, okay, hey, fine. All right, you want us to go? We'll go. Be encouraged, strengthened, and unafraid. Proclaim the gospel. We'll see you tomorrow. Fine, Danny.
You're full of it! Living Waters presents On the Box.